I'm not a socialist, and I don't associate myself with what he has said about the Jewish people.
Our nominee is going to have to convince folks that he is prepared to aggressively address the rise in anti-Semitism in the city of New York.
What specifically has Mamdani said that you think is anti-Semitic?
Pro-Hamas.
But when you hear things like intifada, when you hear things like jihad, when you hear from the river to the sea, it is received as slaughter the Jews and destroy Israel, period.
Do you support the nominee Zoran Mamdani in his race for mayor now?
I have not endorsed the assemblyman.
Wait till all the people that are saying that socialism is bad and Zoran Mandami wanting free buses find out that the whole New York state and city pays for the Hasidic Jewish community to have their own schools, their own buses, their own police, their own ambulances, all that. So why do they get free stuff and not everybody else? I'll wait.
This is the Jewish police in our neighborhood in Brooklyn. Do y'all have a Jewish police?
I'm tired of people who live a socialist lifestyle hating on socialists. Do you work for the government? Do you get your health care taken care of? Do you get your school taken care of? You're a socialist. And then you get to be in a privileged position to be a socialist and hate on socialists? The fuck with you. You get to be part of a powerful union and hate unions? Stop mooching or shut up, but you gotta pick one.
Yeah, I'm already getting the comments, but I deleted them because I'm not anti-Semitic and I didn't even say anything about the Jewish community as a whole or the Jewish religion. I said the Hasidic Jewish community in New York City uses their religion and ethnicity to cheat the system. So that is proof right there that there's enough money for people to live a good life. That's all. Yeah, let's talk about why they hold power in politics, because they all vote for the same person every single time. Like they vote for whoever the rabbi tells them to vote for. So that's why people go and bribe them, and and I know this because when I was younger, I worked for a political campaign. This lady in my neighborhood wanted to take out the guy that was in the state senate for years and years and years, not helping anybody that looked like me. She had to go to the rabbi, and he said to her, "Are you going to give us everything this guy has been giving us? If not, we're not going to vote for you." She said no, and she lost. So, yeah. I'll take my apology in food stamps, actually. And then they're asking for more. This was like 2 weeks ago. But we don't got money for food stamps. We don't got money for single moms. No, we don't got money for buses. No, we don't got money for shelters. You want $1 billion? No. I might tell you a joke, but I'll never tell you a lie. Kathy Hochul need to go too. When is she up for re-election as well, or? Cause, nah, boo. I don't like you either. You was put in because Cuomo. She got put in because Cuomo had to resign. So nobody voted for that bitch. Realistically,
The exorbitant amounts doled out for Jewish communal security are in effect a Jewish tax. Congress should provide at least $500 million for the Nonprofit Security Grant Program administered by FEMA, which has been underfunded for years, and support the Center for Prevention Programs and Partnerships, CP3, which strengthens our country's ability to prevent violent and terrorist activities. These programs and other anti-terrorism grant programs must be appropriately resourced and staffed. To address anti-Semitism online, Congress needs to pass fundamental reforms to Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act and press social media platforms to enforce and strengthen their own policies that relate to anti-terrorism and incitement to violence. There is also a real and urgent need for the government to adopt a broader, comprehensive strategy to counter anti-Semitism and foster American Jewish life. Congressional advocacy in favor of a national action plan and a point person to lead interagency coordination can make an important difference in making this happen. It is only by addressing anti-Semitism holistically, regardless of political or ideological source and inclusive of both anti-Semitic rhetoric and violent attacks, that we can counter this surging anti-Semitism, which I think we can all agree is not just a problem that faces American Jews, but affects American society and democracy as a whole.
Yeah, shocking video showing the moment that Troy McCloud is attacked while simply taking his dogs for a walk.
Call 911! Call 911! How can you do that to a man in a wheelchair?
I was in panic and then I tried to get up, but lucky thing someone was there.
It felt like a vengeful vibe to me because for the extent of the situation, there was no need for it.
Troy McCloud says he was taking his dogs for a walk on Lincoln Place when this man, identified as Levi Kabakov, appeared agitated and told McCloud to take his dogs away from his children, something McCloud says he did, adding his dogs were muzzled and not aggressive.
My dogs did not do anything to his children, and even when he was violating me, my dogs still didn't involve themselves to hurt him.
Police say the suspect continued to act aggressively, throwing a wooden block at McCloud and striking him multiple times with a bench before pushing him out of his chair.
Hi, yes. I just want to say that the black community, and I think I speak for every single black person in the black community, is that we are fed up. Everyone wants us to be calm when it's our blood that is shedding on these streets. This is unacceptable. You need not be a genius to know to push an individual out of a wheelchair. What bothered me the most was how comfortable these men were in being disrespectful to the men in my community. The men in our community are good enough to go to jail, and other people don't go to jail. Daniel Penny didn't go to jail. Daniel Pantaleo didn't go to jail. But Trayvon Martin is dead, and how we keep being disrespected. We are all here. We keep saying, let's live in peace, let's live in peace. You want us to live peacefully when you keep doing us harm. We're losing our homes because of a lot of these people from the Jewish community are stealing our deeds, and nothing is happening. You're hurting our black men. Stop. You're leaving me vulnerable. This is wrong on every single level. Stop asking me to be quiet and to suffer peacefully. I can't suffer peacefully. Arrest these men, send them to jail, and let us live. You're gentrifying Brooklyn. You're making it hard for us to live, and you want us to come here and smile and hold hands and say kumbaya. We're not gonna say kumbaya.
Zionist Israel is the most destabilizing force in the entire world. It has been a warmongering state since before 1948, when it was formed officially. And please don't overlook this obvious observation that the more Judaic evangelical Christians are, the more warlike they are. That's not a coincidence. Who are the evangelicals that are cheering on the wars in the Middle East? Who are cheering on the genocide in Gaza? Who are cheering on the displacement, the stealing of property, murdering, the theft of land taking place by the so-called settlers of the West Bank? The settlers are nothing more than Brooklyn Jews. I'm not being facetious. They are Jews from Brooklyn, New York, who have gone to Palestine for the express purpose of stealing the land of the Palestinians and making a lot of money thereby. They're nothing more than gangsters. They're mafia. They're taking advantage of poor defenseless people that can't fight back because the settlers, quote unquote, have the backing of the IDF, the military force of Israel that protects them, do whatever they want with the Palestinian people and take their land. And evangelicals are praising the Brooklyn Jews, gangsters, that are doing this in the West Bank. They're praising Benjamin Netanyahu, referring to him as the modern-day King David. All over social media since Israel attacked Iran, and then Iran responded. Ever since that began, social media has lit up with Christians all over the United States. Pray for Israel.
Yo, I just seen Shorty on here talking about, I think her name is Faint the Saint, talking about the Jews getting everything. Y'all just realizing that? Are y'all just figuring that out? They always do that. The wives don't marry the husbands legally, and then they turn around, they go get WIC, they go get food stamp, they go get everything, especially in New York. I think they put them on the Section 8 list as soon as they turn 18. They get all the apartments. They put them all in one building. They get everything. When I say everything, everything. And then when you go to the food stamp office, there's somebody back there just for the Jews. Just for the Jews alone. You be sitting there and then they get called first and you're like, what? They get all the nice apartment building complex on Section 8, on housing. They get all that nice stuff. They get the, for one, their husbands put them on payroll, getting paid $250 a week. And then they work at their dad's businesses, not making no money. They don't take their husband's name, so they end up with everything. And then they be like, oh, black people be the one that get all the welfare and the Section 8 and the food. No, it's the Jews. It's the Jews. Y'all are just realizing this? It's the Jews? Boy.
Guess which race has the highest percentage of people on Section 8?
So the vast majority are definitely Caucasian. And I only know this because I've been a Section 8 investor the last 10 years. And I'm going to share the dirty secret about how some of these folks are still living six-figure lifestyles while qualifying for government assistance. 7 years ago, I had an 8-figure mentor teach me all about leveraging OPM and trust structures. His friends and associates have been gaming the system using these trust structures for decades. They're using other people's money and credit to buy these assets that the trust structures own. All the income that's coming from these assets are going directly to the trust. As a trustee, they can pay themselves a little bit of nothing every year, therefore qualifying for Section 8 or government assistance if they choose to. The income also allows these trustees to pay for trust expenses. Think about all the needs of a beneficiary: school, clothing, daycare, shelter, you name it. Now they also have the resource to set up something like a private family bank. So while you're getting judged on your W-2 income, they're able to pay themselves based on the acceptable poverty levels.
The Trump administration is trying to kill Section 8. Section 8 and government subsidized housing is now in the crosshairs of the Trump administration. They are looking to cut it by at least 40% to help save money. There's about 2.3 million people that get government subsidized housing through Section 8 across the country, and the Trump administration is looking to take it from a national level to a state level. So before you freak out with all this misinformation out there, it's not going away. The goal is to take it from a national overinflated, overbloated, overfunded program to a state level program where the national government will kick in a little bit, the states will have to kick in as well, and they will actually have to have a budget. There's also a discussion about a cap on able-bodied adults only getting it for so long. This is one of those things where the headlines sound scarier than the actual sublines. However, this will affect real estate. And this is why I've been telling y'all that Section 8 isn't guaranteed.
Now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
So boom, this is how they do that, let me tell you. So there's something in New York called a one-shot deal. A one-shot deal is like if you are backed up on your rent and you can't pay it, so the government assists you into paying it. So they will go there. So this is for them. Will go there. Say they're backed up. Say each of them say they backed up $5,000. 5, 10, 15, 20. That is 20 stacks for one household. But a lot of people don't know that. Because their family owns the building, they all could get an eviction notice saying they're about to be put out.
Yo, I just seen Shorty on here talking about, I think her name is Faint the Saint.
I just want to say really fast, Jews do not pay their parking tickets either. If they get a ticket, what they're going to do is call their city council member and ask for a letter of support. Then they're going to go to court, present the letter of support from the council member, and say this ticket was given wrongly or whatever the case may be. And a lot of times the cop isn't there. So the ticket is thrown out. They don't have to pay the ticket. So yeah, start asking your city council member for a letter of support and fighting your tickets. Because if they could do it, we could do it too.
This word and you going into a bank.
Is it like a code word?
It is. It's a Semite word.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. I'm not lying. You guys can look it up right now.
Actually, I want to see the real term sheet.
Heter, Heter, heter iska. Here we go. A person who gets a heter iska mortgage is a lot better off financially than a person paying scads of interest to conventional mortgages. Get a free mortgage loan application today for your heter iska loan.
Let me see this.
You can do the math, the paper napkin math of how much money you paid on loans to make your business successful. And there is a reality in which if you were a certain type of people group, you would have paid nothing.
I just found out the Jewish school system in New York is funded by government money. Let's talk about it because that should be illegal. I went to church school for 12 years, okay? Seventh-day Adventist school. It's the second largest religious school behind Catholic. Now, the Jewish schools in 2019 did standardized testing for the first time and every student in the school failed. This year, they have started pulling funding from some of the schools because the students are so poor. And the Jewish schools are fighting back and say, this is our religious freedom. We get to teach what we want in our schools. Yeah, but you don't get government money. Adventist schools get $0 from the government, okay? And I took standardized tests every single year from 1st through 8th grade, okay? And I took SATs and ACTs when I was in high school. I had the same textbooks as my friends who were going to public schools for almost all subjects. The things that were different was we had a religious class, and then our science education was different. It was creationism. But the rest of our education was the same as what you, and maybe even better, okay, because it seems like it was maybe better than what other kids are getting. So why is this government funded? How does this happen? Mamdani, tell me.
The president has made it quite clear that it's Harvard who has put themselves in the position to lose their own funding by not obeying federal law. And we expect all colleges and universities who are receiving taxpayer funds to abide by federal law. It's quite simple. And the president made it clear he's not going to tolerate violations of federal law. He's not going to tolerate illegal harassment and violence towards Jewish American students or students of any faith on our campuses across the country. And so we will be responding to the lawsuit in court. And again, it's quite simple. If you want federal dollars, obey federal law.
I'm sure you've heard the news. A new grant from the ACL Administration for Community Living has awarded a 5-year grant totaling $4.9 million per year to the Jewish Federations of North America. Why? To expand people-oriented, trauma-informed services and supports for Holocaust survivors and other older adults with histories of trauma from other countries, along with their family caregivers. This funding is your taxpayers' dollar funding this reparation payment effort, which the United States is being made liable for. From an event that happened in another country, Germany has also agreed to extend another $1.4 billion, 1.29 billion euros, overall for Holocaust survivors around the globe for the coming year. This compensation was negotiated with Germany's finance ministry and includes $888.9 million to provide home care and supportive services for frail and vulnerable Holocaust survivors. Additionally, increases of $175 million to symbolic payments of the Hardship Fund Supplemental Program have been achieved, impacting more than 128,000 Holocaust survivors globally. These programs are designed to honor and support those who have endured Holocaust trauma in another country. Now the question is, why is the United States government funding this? But that is a question for next time. Holocaust survivors and their eligible family members in the U.S. also benefit from Holocaust reparation payments, which are excluded from income and resources under the Nazi Persecution Victims Eligibility Act. Want to know more? Check out NOS SER, the National Organization of Social Security Claimants Representatives, and the Nazi Persecution Victims Eligibility Act if you want more details. Remember, it's important to know where your taxpayer money is going and to do your own research. We just supply the information. We're here to keep you informed. Your awareness can make all the difference. Thanks for watching.
The American Israel Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC. If you haven't heard about them, you've been on Mars. AIPAC spends $2 to $3 million a year lobbying Congress on behalf of Israel and promoting Zionist causes. And it frequently writes legislation for Congress. The American Israel Education Foundation spends millions of dollars annually on paid trips to Israel for members of Congress. They're constantly taking members of Congress to Israel for the purpose of influencing them. The Anti-Defamation League, ADL, spends millions of dollars annually spying on Americans who are critical of Israel and uses massive amounts of money in smearing those people not deemed friendly to Israel. The mainstream media also promotes the Zionist agenda by accusing those on ADL lists as being anti-Semitic. The International Fellowship of Christian and Jews uses a $100 million annual revenue stream to promote Israel Zionism among evangelical Christians. The Central Fund of Israel uses a $20 million revenue stream promoting Israeli settlements in Palestine. Christians United for Israel, founded by John Hagee, run by a Jewish American attorney from Tel Aviv, David Brogue. Its lobbying arm is called CUFI Action Fund, headed by Gary Bauer, uses a $7 million annual budget to lobby members of Congress on behalf of Zionist causes. Hagee himself has given more than $80 million to Zionist causes in Israel. And then, if that's not enough in your spare time, you might want to check out the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, Simon Wiesenthal Center, Israel Project, Friends of Israeli Defense Forces, Women's Zionist Organizations of America, the Jewish Agency for Israel, American Friends of Likud, American Israel Cooperative Enterprise, the Israel Allies Foundation, the Jewish Policy Center, Leon and Harry Helmsley Charitable Trust, Jewish Council for Public Affairs, Zionist Organization of America, World Jewish Congress, Republican Jewish Coalition, National Jewish Democratic Council, Center for Security Policy, Israeli American Council, etc., 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 etc. These are all lobbying groups for Zionist Israel in Washington, D.C.
So let's get to the next graphic. AIPAC dedicates an entire section of its file for members to rebuke the president's comments under the subhead, "Why is President Biden dictating to Israel how to fight this war while simultaneously demanding military assistance from his government?" Let me just pause right there. If Israel wants to carry out war crimes, they shouldn't do it with our money. You can't, on one hand, demand that American taxpayers who are desperate for a better life here in America, they need to hand over billions of dollars to the Israeli government and the IDF, and we need to shut the F up about any of our critique. AIPAC is evil. AIPAC is evil, evil. My fellow Americans, are you okay with that? Are you okay with a lobbying group representing the best interests of a foreign government telling you you need to bust your ass every day, work a job that you likely hate, and have a portion of your earnings taken from you by our federal government and funneled to the Israeli government so they can commit atrocities in the Gaza Strip? Are you okay with that? Because I'm not okay with that. And nothing gets under my skin more, okay, than hearing these pieces of crap say things that make it clear that they feel entitled to our money. Entitled. That gets under my skin more than you guys understand.